Hello, and welcome to the first journey. This is going to be the introduction and also first game of my time at Stoke City. My plan is to do an introduction to the introduction, ultimately, a bit of the history of Stoke, and ultimately how that has influenced what I want to do while I'm at Stoke now. So this season, in real life, 2021, Stoke City have finished 14th in the Championship. This has been a bit of an improvement over the last 2 years there, where we finished 16th, 15th, now 14th. In 8 years' time, we'll be back in the playoffs, all will be good. It has been an unfortunate season for Stoke. Mainly, we've had kind of Liverpool-esque luck with injuries. To begin with, our first-team goalkeeper, Adam Davis, got injured. We had Angus Gunn on loan from Southampton. He then got injured. So we recalled Joseph Bursick on loan from Darlington. And we got an emergency loan keeper, I believe from Liverpool, Andy Lonergan. So we had to rely on Joseph Bursack, who had never played in the Championship before, to come in and fill in for, established goalkeepers at our level. So that wasn't great. And then following on from that, our main striker, Tyrese Campbell, and one of quite a few promising young players at Stoke in real life, he got injured as well. And following his injury, our season kind of nosedived into nothingness. We were at the beginning at least seemingly competing for our playoff place, and then we've fallen down into mid-table mediocrity. But it's still an improvement on the previous 2 seasons' kind of flirtations with relegation at times. Of course, before the Championship, we were a pretty stable Premier League side under the stewardship of Tony Pulis, who not only created the Bet365 Stadium into a sort of fortress for Stoke, but also the quality meme.
How do the British people say you have to show it in a winning night in Stoke?
However, eventually Stoke fell into a trap that many teams do who don't play particularly attractive football, and that is they now decided that they want to play attractive football. So to get rid of their defensively sound manager, and they bring in what is considered to be an attacking manager. In this case for Stoke, Mark Hughes. There's a few other examples of this throughout the history of the Premier League. I think after Tony Pulis left Crystal Palace, they brought in Frank de Boer, who had a terrible time, and Sam Allardyce and David Moyes have both been moved on from their clubs previously for a perceived lack of quality football, which has had, to be fair, differing results. Though in the case of David Moyes, they did end up reversing the decision and he came back and has done a pretty good job, I think it's fair to say. Of course, for Stoke, we went with Mark Hughes, who did an okay job at Stoke at first. 2 9th place finishes in a row, the highest 2 places in Stoke's history. But also, in every year moving away from Tony Pulis' football, our defence got weaker and weaker. Eventually, we moved on our dressing room leaders, people like John Walters, Glenn Whelan, Peter Crouch, who also went to Burnley. And on top of this, we also made terrible signings, particularly Kevin Wimmer and Saido Berahino, as well as the sale of Marko Arnautovic to West Ham. Put Stoke in a lot of trouble, and eventually our defence wasn't good anymore. We weren't scoring enough goals. And when that happens, it's almost inevitable you get relegated. We spent a lot of money in our first season in the Championship in the hope that we can get promoted instantly. Didn't work. And now we're kind of in this awkward space now, in real life at least, where we've got some good young players coming through, but we've also got a lot of kind of not very good players who don't want to be at the club anymore, who are on Premier League wages. Anyway, but that's real life. In Football Manager, that's a little bit different. And what I've decided to do, and what ultimately convinced me to leave York to go to Stoke, was I wanted to get the band back together. I wanted to get in the Stoke City players and legends who made Stoke City a Premier League force, to a degree, a mid-table force, a stable Premier League team, and I want to get them in, depending on their ages, maybe as players, but probably not, but mainly as backroom staff. Tony Pulis is now retired from being a manager in Football Manager at the 3 years on, and he wants to be a director of football, so I'm thinking of bringing him as director of football, Crouch maybe, Shawcross, and I've come up with a couple of rules that I'm going to try and follow for my time at Stoke on this save. First rule, I just mentioned, get the band back together. Pulis, Shawcross, Crouch, Everington maybe, Hoof, Premier League winning Hoof. Try and get as many players as I can. I think Rory Delap's already at the club, so we've got the throw-in master. Maybe I can re-sign him, get him on for long throws. But ultimately, I'm going to try and get as many former Stoke City players and legends into the club as backroom staff. This might be quite hard, as you'll see, for 2 reasons. One, some of them may not want to come back to Stoke. Some of them are, it's fair to say, not very good, but I'll try my best. I'll try and fit them in somewhere. Rule number 2. Play similar to Stoke, to a degree. It might be hard to play similar to Stoke City's real life style, particularly if I want to succeed. I'm not sure how good to kind of sit back and defend, try and beat teams with set pieces and counterattacks. It could work. I might try and do that. I'll try and do that as much as possible. But I'm going to try and copy the style in terms of what Stoke tried to do, was we had decent wingers. Jermaine Pennant, Matthew Everington, underrated wingers who could get the ball to the wings, get forward and get a cross in for a big man up front. My Peter Crouchies. Get his head on it, score a goal. Sometimes score the occasional wonder goal. But ultimately, that's my plan. No tiki-taka, no gegenpress, beautiful, long ball, tall man up front, beautiful football. And rule number 3, of course, always play long throws. All the time, no matter if we don't score a single goal in 4 seasons with a long throw. Even if every long throw we take ends up being a counter-attack for the other team who score it, we're always going to take long throws. With Stoke City, Roy Delap as our coach. If anyone can teach long throws, it's him. Manchester City do it in Champions League finals. We're going to do long throws. It's who we are. These rules are going to affect my signings. This means that I'm going to have to look for a Premier League quality player who has good long throws, as well as a 6.5 foot Premier League quality striker who's good at heads. Well, heading. Good at heads? That's what? I know words. Good at heading. These are going to affect how I manage the team and how I, hopefully, will go on and succeed in the Premier League. So, on to the actual video then, I guess. I'll start off with rule number 1 that I mentioned. That is the staff. That's the wrong one. This is the right one. As you can see, there's quite a few staff here. Just Jessica Lynon is the odd one out. I'm bringing him from York. But everyone else, obviously, Tony Pulis, Ryan Shawcross, Everington, Hoof, Beattie and Crouch, are all Stoke players and obviously manager from a time in the Premier League. Afobe, he's leaving. That was before I got here. But yeah. So Crouch, the only problem is, as I kind of alluded to in the video, they're not great. Some of them aren't great. Some of them are really good. But obviously Shawcross isn't fantastic. I'm going to try and kind of handle this by having him be in... I'm just got distracted by his knowledge of Israel. He was there for a year and he has complete knowledge of Israel. He learns quickly, does the boy Shawcross. Almost complete knowledge. Anyway, yeah, he's not great as a coach. So I'm going to try and get around this by putting him in the under-18s and hopefully he can build up his licenses there and hopefully become decent. Only 1 cap. He deserved more than that. Poor Ryan. James Beattie, actually a really good coach. Like, the opposite to Shawcross in terms of not adaptable at all. But obviously, we're in England, it doesn't matter. So yeah, he's going to be my coach. Robert Hoof, under-18s coach. I guess the hint there is that he is also not fantastic, but he's linking back up with Shawcross, so, Continental B license though. So only, I think, 2 more licenses for him, so he's going to have to make a lot of improvement if I'm going to bring him into my team one day. Peter Crouch was curious, well, curious is the wrong term, was wondering should I bring him in as my assistant manager instead? But he's not a bad coach. He's going to come in as, I think he's coming in, what was he? Is he assistant manager? No, just under 23's coach, yeah. He's not terrible. Obviously got 1 more badge to do. So if he gets that, maybe he can be quite good. Get some of these up to 10 or 11 maybe, and then he won't be too bad. Not fantastic though. He loves to park the bus though. So, he's going to fit in well here. So Hoof Everington. Again, he's quite good coming in as a coach. Kind of the opposite to BT, I think, in terms of he's going to be defence. I think BT had good attack. Man management and motivating, quite good. He could have actually been a decent assistant manager. But yeah, good coach. So he's going to be coaching the team. Shawcross I've already done. Tony Pulis, of course, director of football. Not great at potential, but good at ability, negotiating. I don't know how much. I don't really have my director of football doing anything really. So kind of irrelevant, but it'll be nice to have him round, getting back in the club. And I feel like I've missed someone off. I know why I've missed someone off. Staff shortlist. Right. A few of these are from my time at York, so they're kind of relevant. But from my Stoke ones I'm looking at, there's a few people here who are decent. John Eustace is a pretty good assistant manager, but I can't imagine he's going to leave QPR to drop down the league to come to Stoke. Dean Whitehead, he was the guy I really wanted. I really wanted him to be an assistant manager, but he won't leave his bro, Sam Ricketts. He doesn't want to leave him. I'm hoping though, where was he now? Dean Whitehead. I'm hoping that's because Sam Ricketts is wanted by Swansea. If he goes to Swansea, he might leave Dean Whitehead behind. He probably won't. He'll probably take him with him. But I'm hoping he'll leave him behind and I can steal him. But yeah, I was really upset about that. So I'm going to have to find a different assistant manager now. It's quite disappointing. Who else? John Eustace is pretty good. Paul Gallagher is another decent person. I've already got enough coaches now. I'm going to be maxed out on coaches. I could ask Stoke for a few more coaches, but he's paid quite a lot for an under-18s coach. He's paid loads. So I couldn't afford him on my budget to get him in as an under-23s coach. So I'm kind of in limbo with him. I do want him eventually to join the club. He wasn't a Stoke player during our time in the Premier League, but he did play for us a couple of times, and I remember him being quite a decent player. I think eventually he went to Blackburn. Clint Hill isn't too bad. He might be my other choice, I guess. He's wanted by Mansfield. Well, I want him. I might want. I know he's decent, isn't he? The Gegenpress, though. We don't want any of that, Clint. None of that. None of that here. Not at Stoke. But yeah, he's my potential assistant manager. A few other players I'll just quickly kind of go over. Carl Henry, not too bad, but my other options are better. I could bring him in as a younger coach, maybe. Yeah, I could probably bring him in as a... I'll need to go over my under-18s and under-23s. He could come in as a younger coach. Good Johnson, should I bring him in as assistant manager maybe? Control possession. Again, we don't do that here. But yeah, I think he was at Stoke for a year. Don't know how much he did at Stoke. Let's have a look. Played 4 games, didn't score, but he was at Stoke. So, technically counts. Ben Foster is still playing quite regularly in the Championship, but he's not an option. Never mind to take it back. Definitely not an option, not with those stats. How are they that low? He's a very experienced keeper. I'm pretty sure he can teach goalkeeper distribution at a greater level than 1 out of 20. You've done him wrong there, game. Who else is interesting to look at? Jonathan Woodgate. He's tempting, isn't he? I can't imagine he's going to quit as a manager, join him to come to Stoke. But he's actually pretty good. Gegenpress though. Why is let's move on from the Gegenpress, guys. It's all about wing play, big strikers up front. What are we doing? Shall I give it a go? Hey up. Do you want to? No? Yep, I imagine that would be the case. So yeah, that's currently the situation in terms of getting the band back together. Now then, we'll move on to the team, how we've set up. What I noticed at Stoke, some great news. We have a lot of tall men. 6'4" striker there. Well, lots of tall strikers. Kraus, 6'3", great jumping reach, good heading, and even our who I've got with my third choice striker at the moment is Tashki. Tashki. One of those two, I'm sure, maybe right. I don't know. But yeah, 6'3" as well. Jumping reach good. Heading not as good, so he's on the bench. That's how I've decided it. If you're good at heading, you're in the first team. If not, you're on the bench. And then we've gone for, as you can see, wing play. Penny, good crossing. Brown, not great crossing, but he's the best in his position. One of our better players, I believe. Smith, 13 crossing. And Fox, 14 crossing. As you can see, I've generally gone for get the ball down the wings, cross the ball in. My only concern is Penny, not very quick. That might be a problem. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Because I'm noticing here, pass the ball into space. That might be you might have to take that off. We'll see how it goes. If we're not having much luck down the left, I'll have to check the stats for that. Rest of the team, Davis in goal, Wolfenden and Collins. They were supposedly my best centre-backs. I've gone with that. They look pretty decent. They've not got anything special to do, really. Just defend. They're not quite no nonsense, but they can both pass. So if I do want to start passing out from the back, I can do that. Centre midfield, the defensive side, that's where I'm not too sure about. Sheaf is decent. According to my coaches, he was a 2.5. Don't know what's going on. There's something going on with my coaches and scouts who like to tell me varying different summaries. Potential to be a leading player. Good player for most League One sides. Well, you're a Championship player now, Ben. So yeah, this is where I feel like the team needs some improvement. It's a shame Joe Allen is out on loan and I can't bring him back, or else he'd probably go in there. Booth, good young player. Quite excited to see what he can do. I wasn't sure about Mazzala, so I've put him in as a roaming playmaker, which I guess is similar. So he might go to Mazzala. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm quite excited about him, especially if he can grow into that 4.5-star player. So yeah, I think that's a team. There's a few tough choices. Woods might come in, centre mid. Tashki could probably compete with Glatzel for first team place. We're going to see how it goes. I'd like to bring in Bursic at some point and give him some game time because he can potentially become a better goalkeeper than Davis. So we see how that goes. How old is Davis? 30. So he's got a few years left. Should be looking to move to a bigger club. What? Fair, I might use that at some point. I can't imagine what club you're getting into though that's bigger than Stoke when you're only an average Championship player, decent player. So you're a decent player in a Championship and you're trying to move on from a mid-table-ish Championship team. Fair dues. That could be good at the end of the season. Maybe you can move him on. We don't have too big of a squad, as you can see. So if injuries start to happen, we might quickly find ourselves in trouble. The good news is though, on that front, 20 million in the bank for January, and we've got 150k there. So we've got the funds, we've got the cash dollar to spend should I need it, and I think I will. Another very good news, set piece wise, our free kicks and corners aren't amazing, 13s. But in perfect news for our style of play, we've got a couple of good long throwers. Josh Hyman, I should mention, he will probably be my starting left back, but he's injured at the moment, unfortunately. So 14 crossing, so he'll fit right in. When I can get him in the team, he's going to be an important player for me. He's just got an injury. I did look at his injury history, and he's had an unfortunate year. He keeps getting injured for 2 days, so he'll be in the team. But yeah, we've got Morgan Fox, his replacement at the moment, who's hopefully we're going to score every single throw when we get. What I did find funny is I have left York on game day and I've come to Stoke on game day. A tough first game at Newcastle, I think it's fair to say. How are they doing? What's their squad like? Best player is Almiron still, understandable. 35 million. My best player is worth 8 million. Theirs is 35 million. I think that shows the current gulf between the teams. But yeah, good player in Almiron. A young player, Dan Carterville. Very bright hair, I must say. We'll give him a scout out of curiosity. Let's have a look at your squad. You've not got the Pravka anymore because he's gone to Leicester. Andre Dozel, nice. Dozel, shall I say. A Longstaff still here. Yeah, Matty Longstaff on the bench though. 22 million pound player on your bench. Damn, how far have Stoke fallen? This is how good Newcastle are. Che Adams as well, wanted by Palace. Yannick Traore, Almiron. The strikers look a bit thin on the ground. I guess Almiron can play up there though. Anyone else stand out to me? Jamal Lewis, good player. Darlow in goal, but he's wanted. Who's he wanted by? West Brom. How good's he become? Let's have a scout of him as well. So yeah, the one issue that you may have noticed is I should have probably mentioned this during the staffing. Currently we are kind of low on coaches. Obviously, a few people are coming in soon, so that'll be fixed. And obviously I don't have an assistant manager. Bit of a concern. So training's going to be, let's have a quick look now actually. So I need 3 coaches for under 23s and 1 coach for under 18s. So there might be space for that player who I can't remember now. That coach. Either way, let's get on to the game. It's fair to say this isn't, the ideal opening game. I'm not sure what to say. What shall we say? Yeah, I guess. Give the fans a performance to cheer for. Yeah, first game against, team second in the league. Not the ideal start that I'd have liked. I'm not confident of getting a win out of this game. They have got Che Adams on the bench though, which is a surprise. I've gotten used to playing in a League 2, so... And then obviously the National League, so, seeing this huge stadium is... I've not actually seen a huge stadium in FM21 so far. I've only played as York, so it's like, whoa, damn. Got used to, playing in little parks. Great start, guys. Again, it's on one hand, I'm obviously disappointed. On the other hand, I'm expecting to get smashed this game. My coaches are telling me that I should go on very defensive, which I guess is the level difference between Newcastle and Stoke at the moment. I could have defended it better on the wing there, but it is what it is. I don't need to watch it this many times, game. Come on, what are you showing me? He was nowhere near offside. Why are you showing me that? Don't make me watch the same replay that many times. Just rub salt on the wound. Why not? How are we doing? I'm covering over the stats. We're doing quite well stat-wise. The XG suggests that that was unlikely to go in goal, which I don't think that's true. I think when you get a header 2 or 3 yards out, you should expect that to go in. I don't think that was an unexpected goal. Oh, here comes a long throw. Beautiful. There it is. There it is. Come on, Stoke. With Stoke, we'll play how we want. The long throw. 15 long throws there. Oh, poetic. It's poetic, our first goal. The long throw. Oh, off the tall boy up front's head. I did notice, listening back to the audio, I don't concede straight away. Oh my God, he didn't even try for that, Davis. I did notice, listening back to the audio, just to make sure it was going okay, that I called Kraus, and my first attempt at pronouncing Tashki's name was utterly terrible, so it's good to know that hasn't changed since the beginning, since I started ever recording these videos. I'm pleased. No, I'm not far from pleased. Whoa, I almost got the wrong button there. Drawing 1-1 with the team in second place, who one of their players is worth more than half our team. I'm not happy. I am happy. I'm really happy, guys. You're doing great well. You're doing great well. You're doing really well. I got both sentences mixed up there. I think I'm going to have to take Ben Sheaf off because he doesn't seem to be doing well in midfield. But it's kind of unfair, again, because obviously they are so much better than us. Oh, yes. Oh, here we go. Long ball. Come on. And what was that? Glatzel. He's basically kicked at their player when Otis will do. Go on, Sheaf, play it to the wing. Yes, Smith. Get a good cross in. We're good at those. Klaus, okay, that was terrible. We're good at crosses. Not that time, but other than then, hopefully we're going to do better than that in the future. Klaus isn't performing too great. But I'm going to take off Sheaf. He isn't playing too well, I don't think. I want to move Oakley Booth to a box-to-box, I think, as well. For a bit more... I guess I was a bit too optimistic going into this game. I was going into that kind of mindset of I want to play a certain way as opposed to what is the best way to play. And I think it's I mean, we're drawing 1-1, so I shouldn't complain too much. Our wingers are looking a bit tired. So I might bring Fraser on. Potts can come on as well. I'm going to leave it a little bit though. I think they're doing okay at the moment. I say they're doing okay. Neither of them are playing particularly great. But I think I'll leave it until 70th minute and then bring on Tashki and change one of the wingers. I'm not actually sure when our next game is. I've been so busy trying to do the stuff that I've not actually had a look at what's the schedule. So yeah, let's make that sub. Let's bring on Tashki for Klaus. I don't know if you are a target man. You can be a target man. Complete forward. I think that's been a bit optimistic. There you go, go a little bit more defensive. So, Fraser, he's not really a winger, so he can cross. So if he's an inverted winger, he's going to cut inside rather than cross. That's not what I want. I guess because I'm telling him to cross in, he will cross. Am I telling you to cross in? No, I am. God damn it. I should really have checked those before I got into the game. I'm on the ball. There's been a lot going on in these few days that I've been here, and it's kind of it's meant that I've not really had time to really check what's going on. I'm noticing that no one else can really cross. So it might be Fraser. You know what, Fraser, you're going there. Where are you? You're going there. In fact, you can go a bit further forward. Yeah. Cross the ball in. That's your job. Cross ball to one of the two tall boys. It's a very simple tactic. I feel like they've had a much better second half. It was quite close in the first half stats wise, but it looks like they've dominated us in the second half. But we're going to steal a draw. Yes, come on. I love that. It's poetic that our first goal, the long throw. What's great as well is that we haven't even had time to work on it in training. We've just gone, right, just throw the ball long, boys. Right, because it's the first game. I want to, Yep, there you go, boys. It's not a win, but it's a good start. We've gone up a place as well. Nice. There you go. You're welcome, Leicester. You're very welcome. What I did notice, and I wanted to, Kasper Schmeichel, it is blowing my mind that Schmeichel, who according to my York Scouts, is a leading championship player, and he's just on the bench, not even on the bench at Leicester, he's just chilling in under-23s, and I'm like, why? I can only presume that is a hefty appearance fee. Oh boy. So we could pay, I could sign Kasper Schmeichel for 5 million. Probably not a good idea to do it. I'd like to take him in on loan. I like these stats as well. I love that they never save goalkeeper stats, so it just looks like he's only conceded 87 goals in 400 games. Also, yeah, give him a game. Let him get his 400 game. I can't imagine that he's any worse than what's his staff. He's not a good coach. I can't imagine that he's worse than Dubravka. I just got them all. Why? It's like you've just gone, we're just going to buy all the goalkeepers. That's the best way to win the league. It's just buy all the good goalkeepers at this level. Yeah. So anyway, I'll scout them all. So what I will look at actually, because we never got a chance to do it before I came here. This video is going to be a long one. My apologies. But Timon is the best left back in the league. We've got a player on there. This is, of course, to me, this is completely hilarious. That the dream team is Leicester featuring Timon and Perez, who they sold to Brentford. So if they didn't sell Perez, the entire team would be Leicester and just Timon. I'm very excited about Timon. I'm hoping that you love the club and don't want to leave. Do you love the club? No? Okay, well, I hope you do learn to love the club and don't want to leave, because this might be tough to keep you. Bit of a concern. But yeah, predicted to come 9th apparently. Nottingham Forest got relegated. Interesting. So yeah, we'll have a look at the schedule. When am I coming back? Jesus. That's a harsh opening, isn't it, that? Palace. So Newcastle and Palace being the first 2 games. Damn. I'll come back. I'll play a couple of games, I'll get everything sorted, and I'll come back for the Birmingham game, because that's kind of a local derby. So I'll come back for the Birmingham game, I think, because then it gives me time to get my staff signings. Hopefully I've got an assistant manager then, and things are sorted. But thank you for watching this video. Hope you have a wonderful day.